What is whiteness or blackness, or, what does it mean to fall in between, or in what ways are we who we are? I'm not part of that owning, praising, living whiteness. Like, that's not me.
Rachel Dolezal is back in the news. Is black in the news? Yeah, a slight Freudian slip there. Here is a white woman, biologically white woman, born of white parents, who has identified as black and was actually a black civil rights leader before it came out that she wasn't actually black. And she said, hey, it's who I perceive myself to be. I am transracial. If you have transgender, why can't you have transracial? So Rachel Dolezal is on BBC. She's speaking with Emily Mattis about her new book, In Full Color. Let's listen to the interaction.
When you started ticking the box that said black eventually, did you feel uncomfortable? Did it feel like a lie?
No. I mean, it didn't feel like a lie, for sure. It felt like a true representation of who I am and what I stand for. Because in race, even though race is a social construct, in America, there is a very clear color line, there's a very clear divide, and you have to take a side. Like, I stand on the black side of issues, philosophically, politically, socially, and for me to not check that box, I felt like would be some sort of a betrayal of not only who I am, but also the community I affiliate with.
The fact that this is even being discussed is another issue of the day in which we live, a day of social madness, a day in which perception becomes reality. I'm not mocking this woman. In fact, my heart goes out to this woman. Long term, even if she has a book and it sells well, I think ultimately she's hurt herself more than helped herself. But as she's speaking to Emily Mattis on BBC, she makes the statement that race is a social construct. Since when? We're told now that gender is a social construct, and it's really whatever you perceive yourself to be, how many multiple identities that might be, or how many identities in conflict with your biological sex. No, gender is a social construct. Now we're told race is a social construct, and I guess skin color, ethnicity, I guess these things are also social constructs. If you want to see where this leads, if you want to see why we have been raising our voice against this mentality that perception equals reality, keep listening. Here's more of the dialogue.
We don't have a choice in how we are born and who we are. And so to embrace and fully own who you really are, I think is something that we encourage, from children's movies to are the most inspirational books, and whether fictional or accurate. I think that we tell everybody, be who you are, be proud of who you are. And this is truly who I am.
But do you think you had a choice? Did you have a choice to be black?
I was born as who I am, and that includes how I feel and also what I look like. And so I don't think that I have a choice in that.
Rachel, you are a white woman. That's not negotiable. It's not like you had a black father and a white mother, all right, and your complexion is in between. It's not like there was intermarriage over a period of time, and your complexion is like 70% this and 30% this, or your racial characteristics. No, you are a white woman. You are a Caucasian. Why not say, I am a Caucasian woman, I am a white woman who deeply identifies with the black community. I am a white woman that feels great solidarity with the black community. I am a white woman who is outraged over injustices in the black community. I want to stand with them. I am a white woman who feels like I'm black in my heart. Fine, you can say all that, but don't say you're black because you are not. This is not something up for negotiation. Look, I feel very young at heart. I just had a very heavy workout with my trainer this morning. I am 62 years old. It doesn't matter that I might feel like I'm 20 or 30 at heart. That is the reality. I might feel like I'm from Mars. I might feel like I'm from Pluto. It doesn't mean that I am. To the core of my being, I might feel like the wolf spirit, and I am actually a wolf at heart. I am a human being, a Caucasian male, 62 years old. That is reality. This whole idea that perception is reality, now you're going to have a serious discussion about it on BBC. This is cultural madness. One more clip.
Gender is understood. We've progressed. We've evolved into understanding that gender is not binary. It's not even biological, But what strikes me as so odd is that race isn't biological either. And actually, race has been to some extent less biological than gender. If you really think about history and our bodies, we are type A or type O or whatever blood. We don't, there's not like white blood and black blood, and there's not like body parts that are, certain,
So you believe in a concept of transracial?
Well, I believe that the word transracial has become socially useful in describing racial fluidity and identity.
All right. Did you hear that? Again, this is why we have addressed these issues for so long. Did you notice she almost mentioned there's no biological part that doesn't connect with gender. In other words, when you're told it's a boy, it's a girl, the ultrasound, or when the baby's born, it's a boy, it's a girl. What we should say instead is, well, we don't really know. That's the packaging. The packaging looks male, female, but I mean, gender is a social construct after all. So we're gonna name our kids, say, Jerry. So it'll be gender neutral. And this way, as the child grows up, they can decide if it's actually male or female or something else, because we've moved beyond the gender binary of thinking people are either male or female. There could be multiple identities. This is why we raise our voice. And yes, if you're going to have transgender, you're going to have transracial. And if you're going to have transracial, you're going to have trans species. And there are people who identify as different animals and things like that. And they say that's who they really are. And they claim to be hundreds of thousands of people like that. And yes, they all need help. She mentioned blood type. I would say that's a perfectly good example. You have a blood type, and it is what it is. And maybe you're rushed into the hospital and you've lost a lot of blood and you need an immediate transfusion, and they don't have you in their database, and they said, your blood type. Well, I identify as this particular blood type. I've read a lot about this particular blood type, and people have this blood type. They seem to need more meat for protein, and they seem to develop a certain way. So that's how I identify. Who cares about how you identify as blood type? The question is, what is your blood type? So, friends, we can move into complete fantasy, and we can say perception is reality. And I perceive myself to be a Viking. I perceive myself to be a woman. I perceive myself to be a woman from Jamaica who is a Viking. That is who I perceive myself to be, and I perceive myself to be 20 years old and 5'4", and I want to be recognized accordingly. It is social madness, and this is why we continue to raise our voice.